Right. Hello, people of the Twitch internet. We are coming to you live from sunny England. It's not really sunny, it's the evening, but you know what? We're coming to you from sunny evening. Welcome back. How are we all doing?
It's sunny what it wants to be for like half an hour, and then it decides no, sod that, and leaves again.
Yeah, that's about the experience. Average day in Britain.
Yeah. Um. Also, we're warning you with peace and love. Peace and love. Um.
Uh-huh. We're weather warning you with peace and love. There's some snow on the horizon. Probably. Hang on. Okay, there we go.
It's back.
A little bit. I can't wait to swap my internet to a better blinking connection somehow.
Or something. Okay. Yeah. Another thing happened as well was Skeg.
Yes, we went to the land of Skeg Vegas, and it was all very good.
Yeah. Well, it was really wet the first 2 days. So that was fun. I mean, like really wet.
Yeah,
Um.
Monday
So
rained
anyway,
a
you may
lot.
do.
Hold on, I'm just changing the cast.
There we are.
Torture
Yeah.
podcast. There we go.
Skeg was very down. I remember that. And
Yeah, it weirdly cleared up
so there
quite a
was
bit.
some very affordable stuff to do.
Yes, that's kind of why I like Skeg. It's it's not expensive as Skeg, the stuff to do around there. There's not a huge amount of things to do. I mean, aside from things like theaters and stuff, but things like even like down to the fish and chips. I think I paid like £5 70. No, yeah, it was four. Yeah, 5.75 for a decent portion of fish and chips, which in this economy is actually really good.
Yeah, it's like going back in time a few years. It's quite nice.
Yeah,
Though
it's
you
like
do have and there was Natureland that was a really adorable layout. It was great.
yes, I picked up a big plushie, a little seal. They were so cute, those little guys.
Yeah, they just sit there and act up when they want fish while they're at feeding time. So that they were misbehaving. It's really cute.
Yeah, it's funny seeing them sort of swim upside down and show off the little ones.
Yeah, they like that. They really like that.
And there was an albino, and he was really cute. Could barely keep his eyes open. Bless him.
There's a couple of them, I think. What was there? Yeah, I got a new hat. Nice new hat.
Yes, it was
That's the.
very cool hat.
I was gonna. There's proper Stetsons. For some reason, I like Stetsons. Um, yeah.
I quote the 11th Doctor when I
And
say Stetsons are cool.
we spent a few hours looking for it. We just spent a while looking for it, but there was that Minecraft arcade game was pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we played quite a bit of that afterwards. I can actually.
literally the best I can be.
So April actually wound up getting the unique tier pet. She managed to get the Iron Golem pet card, which we got it a little bit too late because we died not
Oh,
long after. But
okay.
the Iron Golem pet in that game is absolutely busted. Like, I don't think there's that much difference in that game with, like, the weapon
Okay.
options and things you use, but the pet seems to make a huge amount of difference, because that Iron Golem slayed hard. Then they had, like, a lot of health. Their attacks one-shot basically anything that isn't a mini-boss. Absolutely mental.
Okay, so what day was that on then?
I think that was on. Yeah, I think that was actually on the last day before we left back to Birmingham, and we that fell out the machine. It's like, oh.
Okay,
But
fair
I'm
enough.
thinking of actually using some of
You
those
know, it was a llama.
cards.
I'm
Yes,
not sure that's any good.
yeah. The llama's funny at least, but yeah. Um, 1 second. I just grabbed my pile of cards. So I got a few dupes, but I got something interesting. I got a Vine Whip, like the Pokemon move. You got something called the Bubble Burster, the Hero's Armor. It's literally called Hero's Armor, and a couple of skins. So I got the Frisk skin and Violet. Um, our friend Nathan managed to pull what is called a hero card. So it's a foil, and
Hmm.
it's basically a full loadout. So when you scan it in, it changes everything to a set loadout, which was pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's like shiny and everything, got in gold. It's like that's actually kind of awesome. Yeah. So that was the Minecraft machine. I also
All right. So, how was that? What was that? What was that? Yeah. Oh,
what was
sorry,
what?
Tim. It's like, how was that card game as well? The one you bought Thursday? Was it Thursday or Friday?
Oh, Disturbed Friends.
It'd be Thursday,
I
wouldn't it?
haven't played it yet, and I think it's the kind of game that I can't talk about on stream. It's a bit offensive.
Ooh, that
It's
makes
a bit
yeah,
it's
fair
basic. It's
enough.
a bit like Cards Against Humanity kind of thing. Not the same premise, um, but the same kind of concept of something quite offensive and quite offensively funny. The kind of humor that's no longer allowed on the internet, for the most part.
Do you know what it was new? Because I remember that when Coding Humanity was still kind of new, and I didn't university. I got it because I was watching. I still do watch a channel called Beer and Board Games,
Uh huh.
and that's kind of what they do. That's one of their really early episodes. Was God, and I
Ah.
started collecting board games from there. Got the cards somewhere.
Yeah, but I think amongst like the because it has a few much like cards, it has its own sort of bonus decks that you could get. I guess you could call it vague, not downloadable content, but in the same kind of ballpark of extra content. One of them is just straight up called the unalive yourself deck, putting it in mild terms. I'll let chat figure out what I mean by that.
They did really well. That kickstarted a whole like subgenre of just offensive card games.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm hoping
I
to
haven't
play it at
heard from
some
much
point.
of it since.
Maybe I'll bring it to a house party or something. Because it's not. I don't think it's the sort of game you could play at
That's
Geek Retreat.
no, that's that. They kicked out real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another cool thing is I picked up. Well, I won it from a 2P machine. It's one of the. I can't remember what series it is or what manufacturer, but there was a Blue Eyes White Dragon figure in one of the 2P machines from the Yu-Gi-Oh official one machine things that I wanted. So the Yu-Gi-Oh did some official with some like manufacturing company some official figures, and there was a Blue Eyes, and I was like, oh, hey, it's the Blue Eyes that I've been looking for ages in a 2P machine. How useful.
So how many times did that take you? Because they're sort of trying to get it like day two, I think it was.
Huh? Oh yeah, the plushie. No, that was a plushie. That was a plushie that I'd spotted. I
So I
didn't
tried
wind
to
up
get it
buying
on
the
like
plushie in
day
the end.
two. Oh, fair enough.
I think on day two so we saw it in the machine day two, but it was on one side, so it wasn't actively in the game yet, so to speak. So it was on the side of the 2P machine, like inside of it, but it wasn't on the board, if that makes any sense. But then I checked back on the last day
Fair
before we were
enough.
supposed to go,
Um,
and it was actually in play. So it's like, yes, give me that. Give me the boy.
Yeah, what happened since then? It was wet.
Yep.
More volunteer stuff.
Noise.
Um, but not as exciting since I got back. I'll be honest.
Ah,
One of
fairs.
those weeks.
So I know you left for a job interview. How did that go? Was it all right?
I did. Okay, that was pretty exciting. Had to leave a little early. Um, that I think it went well. I haven't heard back from it since. That'd been Monday.
Uh-huh.
So we're going on a week. So if I got it, I should know or not soon.
Yes. Well, here's hoping you get it, my friend.
Be nice. Yeah.
So,
So move. Yeah. What's the
so how about we move into our occasional section, which kind of leads into Skegness, sort of. Miniature of the month. Do we have a favorite miniature we've picked up recently, or we just want to talk about?
yes, actually. Yeah. There is one. That I picked up by very recently. I mean, yesterday, because it was I'm an R-ing about getting it because it was a slightly strange price.
Oh.
Uh, I was trying to fish him out. It was like it's not too expensive. I can't really afford it, but
Hmm.
it's still a purchase. So like, do I get it or do I not?
Yeah.
I'm getting paid on the 24th, so you know what? Just this once, I just do it because I quite like this guy,
Hmm.
and it's old. It's old Games Workshop, and I'm not sure. I don't see too many in circulation much anymore.
Ah, right.
It's one of the old Mordor orc. It's one of the old Mordor orc captains from back in the day.
Ooh.
They did like three, and there's three initial like poses for the captain ones at least,
Hmm.
and that was like 2005. For some reason, this one sold out really quick.
Yeah.
Um, so there was one going for a not terrible price. So I've been saving money fairly well.
Mm.
Won't break the bank to get him. Um, so I,
Uh-huh. Mm. 1 second. There we go. No.
I
Sorry, I was trying to load the image.
just have him.
It's the fucking Discord's being a
It's a
silly.
gnarly old Mordor orc.
Hmm. He looks cool. Um.
Metal ones. So they look weirdly timeless, but there's got a detail on them that they're not just generic orc. This one's like a severed head and something. It's stolen armor. It's got a lot.
Oh
It's got a weird
yeah,
look
yeah.
about him,
The image
and
finally
I'm not
loaded. There
sure.
we go. That looks cool. S
There he is.
That's kind of what I like about like the early 2000s kind of old Hammer stuff. Just severed heads, decorative severed heads,
Yeah,
just everywhere. Reminds me of like
yeah,
Quick
yeah.
Headtaker with his
Is it?
rack of
Yeah, 'cause-
heads.
yeah. It's stuff you had to. Well, not great at painting on flesh, but it's something you have to learn when you get stuff like that.
Yeah.
Also, if you play Lord of the Rings stuff, you have with what at
Hmm.
least 2 dozen Mordor orcs on the board at any point. So having anything that sticks out is just kind of
Very helpful.
necessary.
Yeah, yeah. Necessary. Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh well, yeah. So just a miniature. I've always thought I thought it was a cool thing when I was 13, and I still think it's as cool now. So I
Hmm.
just sort of I want to pick him up. It's definitely throwback now. It feels like it feels like getting a vintage car kind of, but I do have a soft spot for stuff like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
So
So what you picked up this month?
So what I picked up this month, I picked it up from Boston because I was like my old haunt. So I met up with John, the guy who runs the Warhammer store there, who's still running the place, bless him, after like 10 or so, at least 10 years. And while I was there, I picked up since the
Oh,
new stuff is out, I picked up a Skaven warp grinder. It's this fucking warp stone drill, which looks really cool.
oh yeah.
I haven't seen the codex yet, so I don't know how this works fielded on the battlefield. But I, when it comes to Skaven, I know other people like, oh, the rat ogres and the things like that, and the big units, kind of, that's what they think normally when they think Skaven. When I think Skaven, I think madcap machinery that explodes if you look at it wrong. And the warp grinder kind of fits that bill, but it also feels
Yes.
very. It feels very also like retrofit in the same kind of way that the Gene Steel occult stuff is retrofit. This feels like it's actually supposed to be a mining tool. They just retrofitted it as a weapon or just repurposed as a weapon just because they had it
Yeah.
available. And there's something cool about that because it goes more into the lore of Skaven. Because I can't imagine the amount of like Skaven Blight tunnels. They must have used mining machinery for that because there ain't no way they're scrabbling all those tunnels with their tiny little claws. So it's cool to kind of see the lore of them fleshed out a bit in that regard.
Well, all they use giant things with claws.
Well, yeah, yeah.
They're really. I have to find it in my old archives. I got load of the old White Dwarf magazines, and
Ah,
there was a really cool. There's a really good unofficial um, article on stuff for Clan Molder. With all the basically all they do is weird monster mutatey bits.
they're the mutant making
This
clan.
guy just this yeah. This guy on the writing team just came up with new unofficial units that
Ooh,
sadly I don't think made it as real units,
uh huh.
but they're really cool. Um, like including stuff like was it Gorglitch? I think it's basically a rat ogre, but with it's a rat ogre with the brain of a chaos waste barbarian inside it. So the thing is, he made it into Total War Warhammer 3, so he's
Mm,
not like he actually made it into the games.
wow.
So that's quite cool.
Yeah.
Um, but they had like weird headless living siege towers that were just basically mutated people with hooks for hands, literal hooks for hands. If they died,
Ooh.
you just clamber up them. It's very Skaven. And
Yeah.
try and find it. They had it was called a Great Burrower. It was basically like do you remember the old
The old.
basically
Oh, sorry, I'm dropping out.
do you remember the remember the old maybe the old wyvern miniature that the war boss would sit on.
Oh yes.
It was based on that, but it was all ratified. Um, apparently he just made the thing because it looked cool, and he just imagined that that's burrowers. They literally just dig the warrens that the Skaven live in.
Ah.
I don't like that idea because Clan Molder, their thing
Yeah.
is less less very experimental machinery and more. Can
Hmm.
I give this thing extra
Yeah.
arms?
Yeah. I think Clan Mulder's cool. I get the feeling like I think is it Clan Skya are the ones that make the machines. I get the feeling they'd probably like use tech on their own tunnel. Each clan probably does it differently. To be fair, like the Grey Seers probably just use fucking like warpstone
Oh yeah,
magic or whatever. I bet a lot of the other clans just straight up use like I don't know unstable warpstone like TNT, which probably just has an equal chance of opening a hole to the warp as it does, blasting a tunnel.
yeah. It's considering the age of the range, Skaven have done really well not being dropped from anything.
Yeah, Although I guess they
Let's
sort of
set up.
got they when I was kind of remember being disappointed because at first they had been dropped sort of from Age of Sigmar. They had sort of just been dropped, sort of, not quite, but almost.
Yes, but then again, it wasn't just Skaven that got dropped from
Well, true, true.
Sigmar. Considering how old the range is, it's really impressive. As they started obviously with fantasy
Mm,
before it was even a tabletop combat game is still role playing at that point.
mm,
They were there from the beginning. Obviously, then Mordenheim as an option.
mm.
They initially transitioned into Age of Sigmar as well without really any changes, which is really impressive because they
Yeah.
everything got changed for that. And I presume that yes, I think that there's not a fantasy based thing they've yet to appear in.
Mm. Plus, of course, we can't talk about Skaven in the history of Skaven without talking about the two Vermintide games. Not one, but two of them, which is equally
Of course,
impressive.
but yeah, I remember having quite a lot of fun with that. Uh,
But yeah, I picked up the warp grinder because obviously I've got two characters at this point. I've got that unit of clan rats, so I thought, well, I need a heavy I need like a heavy weapon, and it was either between that or I think it's the smaller what they call the Doom wheel bike things. I can't remember what they're called. Um, but the Doom wheel bikes were
oh
slightly
yes, another
pricier.
one.
They were slightly pricier, so I thought, well, I might get them as my other unit when I, at a later date, maybe make it a Twitch thing or something as a Twitch stretch goal to get some Doom wheelie boys. I just love the fact that Skaven just have like fucking spike wheel bikes.
Oh, right, okay. So I had to go do some digging, but I have found like a blog that looks at really specific army lists that were unofficial for the magazine but never made it.
Uh huh.
That's a great one in here. There's like the little uh what do they call them? The little goblin fellas that the ogres had around with them, the nobblers.
Yeah, yeah, little Nobler fellas. Yeah, I remember them. Just nobbling.
Yeah, some absolute maniac thought it'd be really funny to just come up with a list made up entirely of nobblers.
Just a whole Nobler army.
These are all like official.
Yeah,
Yeah, these are really fun official units as well.
I think I
Unofficial units. It's
saw.
great.
I don't
I'll
think. I
drop it in
think
the
it was
chat.
like a couple of. It must have been over a year ago at this point. But I think I remember in a White Dwarf a list of like 40k orcs that was just all squibs. All just the different squib types, and because that's when they brought out the big squibs that the orcs rode on. So they had a few of them and like a few of these small exploding squibs and stuff like that from previous Warhammer stuff. The all minor unit, insert minor unit here army is just really funny.
There it is. There's the image. Yeah. I'm not sure if you saw it while I was there, but I remember there was Warhammer World used to have a really cool ornament army. That was unofficial. It was all grots, but they were done like Soviet style grots. They're really funny to look. It's a
Hmm.
really fun looking army. Probably terrible on the board, but it looks amazing.
Oh yeah. Ah yes, Lucky Gits. The man
Well, there
boys.
he is. Oh,
Oh yeah, the Chimera and the Burrowing Behemoth. Ah. Kind of like subtypes basically of the
oh.
uh whatchamacallit. Kind of like subtypes of Hell Pit Abominations, effectively. Different sort of similar kind of scope.
Oh, are you coming through? Am I coming through?
Yeah. You're coming through. You're coming through. I'm still here. Hmm. Hello? I should be coming through. I can. Everything seems to be fine. Let me just try and reset. Just trying to reset. There we go. That should work. Oh, come on. Why is fucking internet? There we go. Okay. A little bit of a blip there.
Oh,
I think it's not just I don't think it's just my internet this time. I feel like I feel like Discord's having a bad day in general. Discord's just like, no, don't want to work today. Because my bitrate seems, well, I mean, my bitrate doesn't seem to be so bad all the time. I mean, it's still not great, but even with this bitrate, my Discord should be working.
oh,
Hello,
oh, God's sake.
you alright? I did hear you for a second. Ah, nuts. Well, I guess I feel happy that I'm not alone in my tech issues. I should giggle. I'm sorry, I shouldn't giggle, but it's there's a certain kind of relief to simultaneous tech issues. So I'm probably going to be opening up while we're editing. I'm probably going to be opening up Warp Grinder on my Twitch at some point. So we're going to have a big series of streams where we paint the Skaven clan rat unit, build and paint the leader and the I think Warplock engineer or Warplock globadier guy that I've had as well, and then this, and then maybe we at some point pick up some Storm Vermin or a Doom Wheel, double Doom Wheel thing that bikes. You back? No? ¿Eh? ¿Qué pasa? Hmm. Let me try and relog as well. Ah, there we are.
No idea what that was about.
Yeah.
It's muted. So, where do I leave off?
Sorry, I was just talking about about the units that I've picked up so far that I'm going to try and build and paint them all on stream at some point, and then I'm thinking of getting either the Doom Wheelie Boys or a unit of Storm Vermin next because they've now re-released the Storm Vermin as well, which is pretty cool. I think they're slightly different to the original Storm Vermin, but they're close enough that you could probably buy an old unit of Storm Vermin and use those. But it's just nice to have the option of. It's just nice to have a reprint of Storm Vermin since we haven't had them in a while.
Yeah, they're doing that for Lord of the Rings stuff finally. The Warriors of Rohan got a new box,
Ooh.
which is they're just it's not so much of I'll try and show you because they've changed very little, which is actually quite nice about it.
Mm.
Um, is it because was it? Is it War of the Rohirrim's coming out? So they're using that as an excuse to rebrand some of the Lord of the Rings stuff.
Ah, right. I see.
They are nicer sculpts. You can tell where some of the You can tell where some of the inspiration and where the original stuff's still there.
Hmm.
Try and get the old and new stuff
Hmm.
back to back. You can have a look. Oh yeah. So, do you think we'll be playing Skaven more from here, or
Yeah, I actually want to
we
actually
just
have a proper game of Warhammer at some point once I build up the army. So I think I'm gonna get like I think possibly more clan rats. I kind of want to use not too many clan rats. I know controversial, I know, but I kind of want because the clan that I always had in sort of my head canon, they were more sort of tech based and more sort of elite based. So they were kind of their dual inspiration was sort of dwarven inspired, sort of Japanese samurai inspired. So they're weirdly honorable for at least by Skaven standards.
okay? I can see it. Do
So
you think
they
that
field
the
a lot of storm
that
vermin compared to other clans.
stats of those? I hope the storm vermin are still average at best because
I'm
that's
pretty
just really
sure
funny.
they are just average at best. It's like, yes, our very powerful, our very highly honed troops are about as
Uh,
good as a
a
regular
elite
person.
unit. Yeah, when Skaven elite is a relative term.
Yeah, it's a bit like,
Oh
say,
God,
Chocolate
is that
Fire
what they're
Guard.
doing now?
Like, yes, it kind of works, but uh, not
Hey,
really.
okay. Looking at the Sigma rules, they are actually not bad now.
Oh,
They're like 2 attacks each, 4+ save, 3+ to hit, 3+ to wound.
it's not bad actually. Wow.
They've come a long way. I thought it'd be like 4+ to hit,
Hmm.
4+ armor, something. The 5+ armor, something.
So they've undergone they've done some they've done a few movies, where they sort of circle each other backwards and forwards, and eventually one gets a strike in, and have that cool sort of black and white cutaway, and they bow.
It's like the way you said that sounded like a year 7 fight where no fighting happens.
Oh, I was thinking more like one of the older like Japanese samurai
Oh no,
movies,
yeah, yeah.
where half of the
No,
movie is just them like circling each other.
yeah, they're watching each other very intently.
Hmm.
It's over in like 1 second.
Yeah, they've been training. And by training, I mean whatever the fuck happens in that one Dynasty Warriors game that we were playing in Skeg.
Well, Samurai Warriors. Oh yeah, that's fun. But,
Yeah. Yes, you must train. Don't die. What do you mean, don't die? It's training. You're not supposed to kill me
go
during
through this house.
training.
Watch out for traps. Yes, we trapped the house.
Yeah, that's how Skaven. That's how Skaven train. It's a very deadly, scrutinizing training regime to become a storm vermin. That's why there's not many storm vermin. It's not because of like Skavens being assholes or whatever. It's just the attrition rate for storm vermin in training is so high. You must climb this mountain while being pursued by dwarves. Why? Because it will increase your
Oh,
strength and your horse ability for some reason. But I'm not on a horse. Doesn't matter. You'll get better at riding a horse. Trust me.
fighting the unhorsed dwarves today.
On horse,
Don't
dwarves on
worry about.
horses. Oh
Did the book ever explain that law? Because that's just a
no,
fascinating name for him.
no. I think they mean unhorsed in like unclanned, basically. So it's sort of
Oh
disfellowship from
right, okay.
clans. But and now I'm thinking like, can you imagine like a Dynasty Warriors style Warhammer game?
To be fair, if you played Age of Sigmar, that does what that feels like that now. Actually,
Yeah.
like I've got to be played a game against Gotrek. He's still in the game. He will
Oh
just chew
boy.
through practically anything.
Ooh.
He's horrible. He'll take on anything. He just rolls loads and loads of attacks, and they've they've made him slightly easier to kill. But
Yeah.
before he was just like, if you wound him, he just gets a 5+ to ignore that.
Yeah. I
But
think
the 4+ to ignore it,
if I recall correct, I
and you
feel
can
like
and you can heal him.
yeah, I feel like Queek Headtaker was a very similar model in that regard. So just like annoying to kill, could just shrug shit off, and had like a million fucking attacks, and would just charge into whatever fucking unit and just go Lamau idiot.
Was that back in Fantasy,
Yeah, that was like
or was it
way
Sigma
back.
era?
That was way back in Fantasy because
You're gonna say because
Queek never got into Age of Sigma. He died before Age of Sigmar started canonically. He was
yeah,
finally
because like,
felled by the dwarves he love hated the most.
yeah, because like powerful back then was like 3 attacks, 3 wounds.
Yeah.
That's like there are some troops that have that now.
Yeah.
It's like the power creep is real. Um,
It is kind of funny that a game like Warhammer has power creep. You wouldn't think that it would. You wouldn't think it would need power creep.
yeah, but it sells more Space Marines, so you see a
Yeah,
lot of that.
that's true. That's true. Just make the Space Marines better.
Have you?
Fuck, the Space Marines are too good. Make the Tyranids better. Fuck, the Tyranids are too good. Make the Space Marines better.
We thought the Eldar exist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Eldar exist.
Oh
How
yeah.
about those? Whoops. I feel so bad for Eldar players.
Oh, I know. Or like, yeah, the lesser supported factions as well. Like, I feel like I know Sisters Battle thing got
Like,
something recently, but even so, it's like they get treated so badly. Just like occasionally
I
we'll
waited
throw
30 years
grain.
for a plastic box.
Yeah, we'll throw Grey Knights a new model very occasionally. It's very occasionally, but they're just like
Yeah.
Space Marines, but not. So they're not Space Marines, so no one
Mhm.
cares. Weird fucking
Yeah.
logic by Games Workshop. They're
Oh
not the
god, yeah,
Ultramarines, so no one cares.
that's still what it kind of feels like, dude. It doesn't change that much.
Because even like I know some of the I don't know if they've changed it now, but even like I think Blood Angels and Dark Templar occasionally used to get their own units, like their own unique units for
Oh
their
yeah,
sort
yeah, yeah.
for their thing.
Yeah,
And
like
now they
Space
just
Wolves as well.
yeah, I
Like
feel like now they just don't. It's like but hi.
that's why we like these guys. They were
Yeah.
cool and weird and thing going.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah, like
oh.
the whole Space Wolf, they had blood claws, long fangs. But basically, just it was how old you were.
Hmm.
That that was the Space Wolf thing. Is how old you were.
Ah.
It was veterancy.
It's like nowadays it feels like
So the
all the
blood. Yeah,
different feels like all the different chapters of Space Marines are just skins now.
yeah, it's the Primaris, but the different colors.
Yeah,
But they're
so
totally different, honest.
it's like great. You just took everything that was unique about the chapters and removed it. Like thanks.
Yeah, actually, I was at D&D with Brett just Saturday night,
Mhm.
and you know how much D&D like what Brett likes is like playing 40k in general.
Mhm.
Even he's like, look, I don't want to do Space Marines again.
Yeah.
He just doesn't want to do it. Even though he's got the armies for it, he's like he'd rather not. Apparently,
It
so if he's
it's
that's how more Space Marines getting apparently.
it's really strange how they've somehow succeeded at supporting their like flagship army so much, but in doing so they've made them feel weirdly bland. It's like eating like vanilla ice cream.
Since ninth edition, really, they've been phasing stuff out like that. It's quite annoying. It is funny to look at. Is if you um, so if you look at the codexes and just compare them, uh, you've got let's see. So the G to the cults, you have 2 troops choices.
Hmm.
Uh, let's see, it's 2 or 3 different vehicle options.
Hmm.
Um, you've got it's fair, you got quite a lot of character selection, but it doesn't. There's not a massive unit variety for the battle line and elite stuff. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
if you look at the Space Marines battle line and elite stuff, it is like hilariously bloated through years of though this was a thing, then this was a thing. So they haven't officially taken it off the cards yet,
Yeah.
unless it's like a really obscure character. Like we've randomly decided the captain can't get a jump back now.
Yeah, that's a bit dumb. It's a bit
So it's
dumb.
like, so they're just people that's lovingly painted one 10 years ago. Like, oh, I can't feel my captain anymore with my assault marines because they're no longer in rules, which is great.
Yeah, it's like, but why? It's like, thanks for supporting your legacy bloody units, you fuckers. Even though they
Yeah,
haven't, they never. It's like, yeah, we've never really like officially phased them out. It's just we basically forgot about them and pretended they didn't exist.
yeah. So if they're not Primaris, they seem to not care sometimes. It's a bit,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't like that too much.
It's like I remember they had the Space Marine bike units as well back in the day, and those were kind of cool.
Oh yeah, they're fun.
The scout bikes.
They look pretty beefy as well.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that's kind of cool because it gave like people who wanted vehicle options a vehicle option that didn't mean you had to spend sort of 40 or 50 quid on a tank. You get
Yeah,
a little like scout
they also
bike.
had the scouts used to have a proper role as well. They've sort of phased that out as well. They're bringing it back as for a kill team,
Hmm.
but really, scouts haven't been relevant to the Space Marine list in a very long time.
Which is bizarre, really, because I mean, I know Brett used to run scouts to devastating
Hmm.
effect.
Yeah, because they used to be good. They were before the Primaris. They were the only Marines that could get sniper rifles, so they had something. They also were kind of cheap.
Hmm.
There was reason to pick them, and they could infiltrate, which at the time was you just don't get many that can do that. But now there's Primaris Marines that can do every specialized role you can think of. They're kind of like an afterthought nowadays, and they're just not as good as the regular
Yeah.
Marines.
Suddenly, when you have a unit that can do everything, individual abilities don't seem very exciting.
That's why they still sell attack mode, the tactical Marines.
Hmm.
They've never stopped working. They just are decent.
Hmm. But yes, anyway, that was our miniature of the month section.
Yes.
Um, I wanted to talk before we head out of this section. So there's other miniatures that I didn't really care about. So there's some big new Clan Molder monsters, a new effect, Horned Rat Prophet, big thing. Um,
Oh,
there's I think there's some new character models as well, which look pretty cool. We've got the Zappy Boy. Call him the Zappy Boy. What's he? What is he
the wall
actually?
block.
Yeah, the new Warplock guy with his what's he actually called? Let's have a look at this article. What is it? What's he fucking called? No. Oh yeah, so we've got the Prophet the Horned Rat. Kritok
Mhm.
Foulblade is the new sort of warlord character,
Oh.
whose blade looks really cool. Yes,
It's in
the
his name. It better
yeah,
be cool.
the Warlock Galvanier is the name. So they've
Oh.
got they got like little warp vault obliterators. They've got like warp lightning cannons, like the small ones. Um,
Good.
we've got
Good.
acolyte globadiers now as well for more. So basically, they've really
Okay.
focused this time around. They've really because last time we had sort of more plague monk stuff in the last wave. Now we're focusing more on Clan Molder and Clan Skyer in this one. So you've got the Master Molder, the acolyte globadiers, the Warp Spark weapon battery, which I believe has multiple options. I think you could, yeah. So you can have Warp Vault Scourgers, Rattling Guns are back, and Warp Fire Throwers. So they're now Warp Fire Throwers and Rattling Guns are now linked into Weapon Battery. They're still unique, but they've sort of been lumped into one type, basically one unit, but they just have different weapons, which simplifies things without getting rid of any individual weapon, which is cool. I used to really love the. I think I had the warp fire throwers from the Island of Blood box.
That's a good. That's quite a cool box.
Hmm.
Got some of the bits from that
Yeah.
for some reason.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the new Storm Vermin. So the Storm Vermin, for the most part, what they've done is they've made their armor look better. So they now look more armored than they used to be. Is the main thing. To the point where even their like musician has like a full helm rather than just a slight helm. They look a bit more intimidating.
Okay. So
I'll post it in pics and vids somehow. There we are. Oh yeah, Doom Flayers is what I was thinking of. Doom Flayers. They've brought those back. And then we've got the Brew.
Those little wheelie boys.
Yeah, the
I
little
don't know,
wheelie
those are
boys.
fun.
And they brought back the Brew. They brought out the Brew Terror. So basically, Brew Terror looks like the new kind of stand-in for the Hell Pit. So it's a bit smaller, but it's still basically like a rat ogre on steroids, effectively.
And it's much easier to actually get hold of.
Yeah. We've got some new rat ogre molds. We've got what appears to be a warlord on a giant rat, that's kind of cool. We finally have like a mounted cavalry kind of warlord, which is interesting. It would be nice if we had rat cavalry though to go with him. Maybe give us like a clan that cares about like rat cavalry. That would have been cool. Expand the lore a bit. And the sniper units. I think we're getting some more pestilence stuff. Yeah. But yeah, mostly Molder and Skyer this time around, which I'm pretty happy about because I like Clan Skyer stuff.
Okay.
Um,
Let's see what they're doing.
Yeah. It would have been nice if they, as well as doing the big Visig Scour Prophet Horned Rat, which is basically a Horned Rat miniature, it would have been nice if we got like a big vehicle, like a Screaming Bell or something. There is I think in the big box set, there is like I think it's like a Warp Lightning Cannon, like the big one. So there's that still around. But it would have been nice to have a big, a singular miniature that you could get by itself that was new or a new, mold or a new
No, yes,
big
not
end
just
cap
a
weapon.
redo of an
Yeah.
older one.
I don't know, something like
Yeah,
maybe like
that didn't help.
I think what would have been cool is something like, I don't know, like a big catapult, something that just lobs a big explosive or something. Because I feel like that's one thing that Skaven's missing. Yes, we've got like small radius explosives, but a big radius explosive would be cool. I just want to use the big templates again. Big
I'm told
template. Hmm?
something like kind of the Doom hurler catapult or something. It
Yeah,
just
that'd be
lobs
cool. Hmm.
giant. No, the Glabadiers just have the giant, or
Yeah,
just
yeah.
lobs giant versions of that.
It's something like Globadier artillery or something.
Funny rule you could have with it, in keeping with Skaven being expendable,
Uh.
you could risk it by firing. You could risk it by firing a unit of clan rats or storm vermin.
Just yeet them into battle.
Yes, but they take an attack every time you do that, so the chance they just die,
Yeah, just
but they still technically count as an attack because you're hurling at least a heavy object at them.
that would kind of give Skaven a pseudo kind of deep strike ability. You can sort of
But
instead of feeling all your army at once, you can choose to retain one or two units as quote unquote ammo to launch later with your big weapon.
or
You
if
just
you move
launch
within
a
base,
unit
you
of
move a unit in base contact, you just launch a unit. It'd be funny.
Just, it's all right, lads. We're almost through the breach. Are they firing rats at us?
Yeah,
That would be terrifying. Just seeing a bunch
yeah.
of rats just flung at you. Just fuck.
Just to really remind. Oh yeah, these are expendable.
Yeah.
So you can throw some like ammunition and risk them dying, but you can try it if you want.
Yeah. Games Workshop Corporate, we are available for
Uh,
full-time employment if you like our ideas. Just
yeah.
give us a call. Byzantia, 01205 Byzantia. There you go. Just call that number.
Yeah,
We'll
the
get in
problem
touch with
we
you.
don't get much mail because we're actually in Byzantia. Well, I am at least. So
Actually, in Byzantia. Yeah. Yeah.
about 1,000 years away from the rest of you, which is really complicated. It's no
Yeah.
interconnection at all.
Anyway, sorry about like splurging about Warhammer for like a huge bit. Consider it like a
It's
special
easy.
episode because look, I am the Skaven enjoyer, and they finally gave us more Skaven, so I'm a happy boy.
Yeah. So what we got next?
Let's do our homebrew of the week. What you got for us this week?
The week. Okay, we got quite a pick. We got a couple of weeks to pick from.
Hmm.
Um, have a look through my file of September. So a pick. Okay, then very nice. Ah, yeah, there we are. That's a fun one. We've got a couple of things today. Well, a thing and variant of a thing.
Uh-huh.
I think it's because while we were in Skeg, you kept. I love that song. We went. I think when we went down to Natureland. You were humming the Eyewitness theme,
Oh yeah.
and every time I hear that, I want to just design some weird monster. Just some. That's just a thing that happens to me.
Hmm.
So I came up with a thing for. If you've mentioned it, Talislanta. It's like the fifth edition conversion for another similarly aged D&D style game.
Hmm.
Imagine no magic and there's a load of weird monsters, a bit more Conan the Barbarian. So I designed some monsters for like swampy bits, called them fang eels.
Ooh.
Uh, I had a reference image for this, which is quite like from the Monster Hunter games.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, I'll try and find them from the Ludroth. There we are. So this was like the body shape I was sort of working with. I just put my own spin on it.
Hmm.
Oh, so I'm trying to find a good image of them, but they're doing the Games Workshop thing of all the images have them jumping in the air. On
Action
escape team
poses.
jumping in the air.
Yeah, that's kind of one thing I'm kind of glad about with most of the new Skaven stuff is at least none of them are
Not jumping
actively
in the air.
jumping into the air, so it's a bit easier to paint and field. Oh wow! Oh, those look cool.
Monsanto's got some really honestly. Want some if you're a DM and you want some just beast designs, just crib a little from Monster Hunter, but change it enough because
Hmm.
it's a lot of fun ideas. So that's good for body shape, but the face is more like wolf like. Minus no fur, but it's got that sort of
Hmm.
shape. Um, I just imagine them as like apex predators for rivers.
Hmm.
Um, so attack wise, they're not that weird.
Yeah.
It's sort of like it's like a baseline idea. They bite stuff. They can bump into you, and they do technically have claws, but
Hmm.
they do have reach on their bite attack and their slam attack. So that is sort of something that's where they're sort of a threat.
Yeah.
Um, and there is a trait in Telesanta I really love, which D&D should absolutely pick up. It's basically the property is if it's only for like tail attacks normally. If the target is behind you, it's a bonus action to use the attack because you wouldn't think about doing it. The monster would just do
Yeah.
it because it
Just
doesn't have to
swipe.
move.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love that rule. I think it's weird that it hadn't been picked up elsewhere. So it's got that, but otherwise, it's highest attack damage is bite 1d8, 1d4 slashing on this claw, and 1d6 on the bludgeoning.
Hmm.
It's plus 2 strength modifier. So it's a nice like entry level monster, but that makes the game it's a bit more interesting because that book is great for setting the world up for
Hmm.
Talislanta because I don't know that well. But the monster manual doesn't have a lot in the way of low CR monsters,
Yeah, particularly when it comes
which
to
might be
things that are river based. There's like a lot of like ocean based
yeah.
threats that are aquatic, but not many
Hmm.
river. There's things like giant toads and stuff like that, but generally giant
Yeah,
toads only ever seem to show up as druid wild shape options. Generally.
it's true. They're quite nasty giant toads as well if you read their
Yeah,
rules.
yeah.
Swallow you. The other thing they got going for them is they can breathe underwater for 4 hours, which is that's that's pretty bad. And mud trawler. So basically, if the terrain is muddy and swampy and difficult terrain, they just ignore it.
Mhm.
They live there. Why would that be remotely a problem for them? Um, I could was on a bit of a thing that day. I did a follow up. I just tweaked it ever so slightly. and did like a subspecies because Monster Hunter is all about the subspecies.
Mm.
Um, so
The
came up with
recolors.
yeah, effectively because that was the plan when I came up with them. It's
Mm.
like maybe you want to fight a stronger version later. I don't know. Uh, so I came up with the toxic fang eel. So it's basically like a venomous equivalent that lives in the deeper swamp water. That's
Mm.
so. But basically swamp water is kind of lethal if you're getting deep enough.
Yeah, it's thick and
Yeah,
claggy and
it's essentially toxic. So I thought, right, okay, I want something that would actually survive in that. So I came with basically a poison resistant variant for the fang eel because I
mm.
think it's a cool animal shape. I quite like it. Um, the real difference between the two is that obviously the poison resistance
Mm-hmm.
and have secondary eyelids as well, sort of like a camel.
Mm.
So obviously they swim around in really dreadful swamp water all day, so they don't, so while vision isn't always great, they've got it.
Yeah.
Um, but obviously if they're going to be looking around all day, they can't be getting dirt, small bits of wood, rubbish in their eyes. So they have the secondary pairs of eyelids. It makes so if they ever have to take a save against being blind,
Mm-hmm.
they have advantage on it.
Mm.
Just another weird little quirk that is fits the background and is also quite a fun little gimmick.
Mm.
Um, the us is classic like Castlevania monster design as well. They are just slightly harder, slightly stronger. Um, but like I said, the joking, it's just like a recolor with a bit of substance to it.
Yeah, it's it's
Just it's
like
because
it's
I
like
just
it's
want
like
to keep it going.
here's this creature, here's this stronger creature that you'll have to use like a newly introduced mechanic in order to help you defeat it, basically. Now you'll need to use this
Yeah, just
ability. Ah, now you have to fight a bit more
yeah, just
complicated.
yeah, yeah. I got into world building mode and thought, right, how would a monster or any animal survive in a toxic swamp
Hmm.
without just keeling over and dying? So this was born, and yeah, it's cute. It's a fun little experiment because every now and again I keep reminded of the Witness theme, and it makes you want to design beasts. It just happens. I don't know what it is.
It's the boon of the it's the inspirational boon of the eyewitness music. Do 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 do.
It's really catchy that music.
Yeah.
It's great.
So what
I
I've
hope I
just
hope that man has
hmm.
royalties.
Yeah. So what I've designed this week, I've been back on the Eldrazi train because there's a lot of Eldrazi. Because they brought out some
Mhm.
new ones with the recently out set. I mean, it was a couple sets ago. Modern Horizons 3 added more Eldrazi, particularly on the lower end, which is
Okay.
interesting. So we have the Basking Brood Scale. So I will show you the image of that.
Ooh,
It's a little lizardy
good
guy.
name.
Yeah, it's a little lizard. So this is
Good.
so it's kind of a variant of another magic. Magic's done like root wallers and lizards before. It's like an Eldrazified version of that. So their way of sort of world building while making basically like modern Horizon sets are designed to add cards into the format with weird or interesting abilities, which this does have, but also to expand the lore of already visited places. So this is like a little guy so because most Eldrazi are sort of big, as you've seen, some of the Eldrazi are really big guys, but some of them are actually kind of small. So this is like a mutated lizard, basically. So hence why it's only a CR1 because he's a small guy. Um,
Okay.
but they can't be scryed because they have the devoid ability, meaning things like scrying or detect life just show up as they don't exist because Eldrazi sort of generally come from this place called the Blind Eternities, which is kind of a place outside of reality. So they're sort of quantum entanglement, kind of they do and don't exist at the same time, kind of fucks with that kind of magic. Um,
Okay.
they also they're also adaptable, so the lower level. I figured this guy because he has an adapt keyword. I thought, well, let's flavor this as they are still evolving, effectively. So they are constantly evolving. So initiative 20, you roll a d10. If it's 1 to 4, it's nothing. If it's 5, it's strength. If it's 6, it's dex. If it's 7, it's constitution. If it's 8, it's intelligence. If it's 9, it's wisdom. If it's 10, it's charisma. And Basking Brood Scale's core stat, whichever one you roll onto, increases by 1 until the end of the encounter. So it could potentially get stronger the longer the battle goes on, but not by a huge amount, but by a little bit. And
Okay.
generally, flavor-wise, I'd, as a DM, run them as stealthy, so that they'd be trying to sneak around for a bit until they feel confident with attacking. As another thing they also do is they create Eldrazi spawns every time they successfully adapt. Eldrazi spawns are very weak Eldrazi that basically would go down in a single hit, but they're there as a distraction, largely. They're either a distraction and an infection agent, effectively.
It sounds like idea from fourth edition. They
Mm.
had the idea from minions.
Yeah, so it
They
makes
would
like
they would
little
just.
mini
Yeah.
minions.
To be fair, that's one idea from fourth edition that didn't entirely suck.
Mm.
I quite like that idea. I quite like that because I think I said it a few times on these homebrew of the weeks. There's not there's a lot of support for high CR monsters, and that's fine because people like the big CR monsters.
Mm.
But it does mean that if you're starting a campaign at low level, some people prefer to do,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of support for monsters outside of wolves, boars, bears, hobgoblins, goblins,
Yeah.
and kobolds and stuff like that.
Mm. Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of the point of this guy. I believe there's an
Yeah.
old 3.5 version of the Eldrazi Spawn or Sion that's actually in canon. I think it was in. I believe it was in Plain Chase Zendikar, but I still need to convert it to 5th edition. So the thing they actually make is actually already in D&D, just in an old edition. But in lore, they're designed to be. I guess the lore I gave them because they didn't add a huge amount of lore to them outside of the card. They are propagators, so I figure there's probably a class of like Eldrazi that
Oh,
are designed to birth spawns and things, and then those spawns go on to corrupt other creatures to turn them into more Eldrazi. Hopefully the bigger ones. So
quite
there's
cool.
kind of an it's
Okay.
kind of a so you know how like an ecosystem generally goes down to up. So you got apex predators downwards. I feel like Eldrazi do the opposite. So they go up, they go down to up in their ecosystem.
Okay.
Just another weird part about those that their corrupt weird nature, those aberrations. They look for stronger targets to corrupt rather than lesser things to eat.
That's fair. I can see why you can see why they do that. That's pretty. That's a quite a fun idea. Um, you're going to say D&D. They love to death.
Mm,
But they do one of the pitfalls is if your dungeon master is busy or doesn't. I'm lucky with Brett to be honest because he
mm.
homebrews a lot. He's great. But if you're not so lucky with your DM, sure they're a good DM and all, but if they don't homebrew a lot, you're low levels or you're fighting the same stuff.
Yeah. It's either you it's either
Yes,
you
it's
have to homebrew or you have to like own enough different books where you can find, some obscure stuff. Like I think things like, for
oh
example,
yeah,
the
yeah.
the rare W in fucking Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica is I believe there's like different flavors of goblins and things like that that are low CR. I think there's some
Yeah,
different low CR things in there. So it's like there we go at least.
you know what? The other one that kind of slipped through as well. They did it in fourth, but fifth time of getting the treatment. You know how like the classic dragons are literally color coded, have their
Hmm.
own personalities and stuff. I want kobolds doing that as well.
Yeah.
Would be like one tiny change. You describe them looking different, and you give them resistance to damage types.
Hmm.
It just seemed like a really small change that wouldn't take Wizards of the Coast more than 5 minutes to sort in.
Yeah, and
They just haven't
you
really
can
done it.
even take them further. So like because kobolds love their traps and their little little
So they,
scrap built
yeah,
things and stuff. You could do something like, okay, the green kobolds have like an innate but weak poison that they coat all their weapons with.
I can
Blue,
see that for being
yeah,
more.
blue kobolds, for
Oh,
example,
sorry.
they have static electricity that they use that they temper and generate into like their weapons. They'll use like crystals or whatever in their environment to temper their electricity and channel it into a weapon. Just little things like that, just to give them a little bit extra flavor, a little bit of a difference in combat,
Like,
without making them full
I
on.
like that idea.
Having giving them a full on breath weapon. They have like very minor versions of these draconic elements that they use in their weapons specifically in different ways.
I could see that working out because obviously, like, uh, green, black, green, the green and the black ones probably would have poison resistance, poison, some
Hmm.
sort of venom. I can see that working out.
Yeah.
It's almost tapping into. I think it is 3.5 or fourth edition stuff I've seen
Hmm.
where certain kobolds did have some minor draconic powers. They were like, you know, slightly special, better ones.
Yeah, because it's weird to me. It's weird to me that dragonborns are different and have different things and have like they have obviously resistance
Mm.
and a minor breath weapon, but kobolds, despite being dragonkin as well, get nothing.
Yeah, and then they half brought them back with um, the re-release of Kryn, but Dragon Spawn also a really cool idea.
Hmm.
But they're retied to Tiamat and stuff. But that's like that's
I
the
mean, what isn't in
basically
terms of
dragon eggs that.
dragons?
Good point. Yeah, but dragon eggs that are willfully hatched too early and messed about with magic, so they end up as like slightly weird, slightly bigger versions of Dragonborn that are
Hmm.
pretty much universally evil aligned. They all look distinct. Every color's got their own thing going on.
Yeah.
Um, again, fourth edition. I mean, you can say the rules are rubbish because they kind of were. They're a bit overcomplicated, but their fluff books are kind of fantastic, just for ideas.
Hmm.
Like to the extent I just have half of it. I got the book of chromatic dragons in there,
Uh
the
huh.
fourth edition version, and it's not just got your chromatics, including some chromatics that have been sadly forgotten about. Like the brown dragons are really interesting looking. It's got dragon eels,
Hmm.
elemental like dragons that are literally made of elemental fire,
Yeah.
um, and dragon spawn, parasites that live in a dragon's hoard. Living breath weapons. There's three versions of that.
Oh, that's
Different
weird.
versions of Draco Liches. So there's all sorts of weirdo dragons. Oh, and different kinds of Dragonborn as well. So it goes all in on just these bizarre concepts and says, "Oh, why not? Just get a little weird with it." Uh, I think it's kind of sad, really. If the rules didn't let it down, um,
Hmm.
fourth edition really could have been what fifth edition is now.
Yeah. They really just fumbled the bag. I guess that's why they were like so hasty into going from fourth to fifth because they were like, "Oh bollocks."
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do a soft reset.
Hmm. Anyway, yes, that was our homebrew of the week section. Before we finish up, a quick critical fumble. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, okay.
Do we
Well,
have a critical fumble from yourself?
I've trying to think. Do I have to anything that comes to memory at least? This has probably on holiday. I've been not thinking about bad things for a while. It's been quite hard. Um, Yes, there is one actually. There is one comes to mind.
Hmm.
God bless YouTube recommendations. How familiar are you with a company called Sweet Baby Incorporated?
Ah, all too familiar. All too familiar.
Okay, cool. So, um, there's noises that the rumor. Okay, well, this is rumor,
Uh-huh.
but there's rumors that they're on the verge of shutting down and failing completely.
Oh no. Anyway,
No.
how
um,
unfortunate.
yeah, I mean the thing about it that does strike me is the most important thing is just because they're gone. I mean, they've inspired. There's other companies that do exactly what they do.
Yeah.
They were just like the first one to catch crap for it. Um, so not to wish somebody to fail, but we weren't exactly. So keep in mind, this is my take on it. If you work there, you've got to know more than me. But Sweet Baby Inc. They bolt themselves. What they do, they're a consultancy agency. Bolt themselves onto a game. Um, they do seem to have a strong left-leaning bias politically, but they take that into their games consultancy.
Hmm.
So they go on and alter how a game's plot works, or uh, really insist some changes that would make it more diverse. And then what has happened historically, the game fails.
Generally, yes.
Um,
There's a few
yeah,
exceptions,
this is
but
the general
mm,
cycle.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing's kind of been a critical fumble, but now they're actually beginning to suffer financially for it.
Yeah.
So what any fumbles on your end this week?
So I think it's kind of more of a long-term fumble. So I guess the current critical fumble is Konami. Because
Hey,
obviously the new 25th, it's another 25th anniversary tin, despite the fact it's no longer the 25th anniversary. Just ignore that part. But they've brought out a new tin. They've put some good reprints in it, but because I think of lack of printage in scalpers, the prices of the important cards are expensive, haven't really gone down that much. Because they decided, you know
yeah.
what you will do? So the cards that people need will make them only quarter century rares in the tin, making them still expensive. So thanks, Konami. Thanks for that. So
I bet they love that.
prices of certain needed reprints haven't gone down, and in addition to that, this isn't their only critical funnel. Obviously, the I think in Japan, I think the new not quite Max C card is coming out. If you know what Max C is, basically it's a absolutely
Yeah.
horrendously broken card that allows you to draw a card every time your opponent special summons a monster. Yu-Gi-Oh is about special summoning monsters, so effectively, if someone flashes a Max C at you, you either have to end your turn or they will get so much advantage that your turn won't matter, which is ridiculous. So they've printed another Maxi, and yeah, it's like I think it's going for like £133 per copy because they also printed it at the highest rarity because they know people need it. Thanks, Konami.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah,
that's unheard.
Yu-Gi-Oh financially is a fucking hot garbage on fire mess right now. I'm so glad I don't play meta
Yeah.
because fuck me, it'd be
You
so expensive.
like 10-minute turns to half-hour turns?
Yeah, it's also like unlike Magic, there isn't really a very good pro proxy stance in Yu-Gi-Oh! In the same way that Magic has. So
Okay.
those £100 cards, if you want to play that deck, you're gonna have to fork out for them. And if they're staples, like the Maxi,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to fork out for many copies of them if you want to play multiple decks. Which is
Oh,
ridiculous.
man. It's kind of glad you brought up card games again because I've been thinking of learning how that Goblin deck you got me
Oh
works.
yes, the the
I mean,
yeah,
an Urukai slash Orc slash
yeah,
Goblin deck.
yeah, the Lord of the Rings deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll be happy to teach you sometime.
You know what? I could use my Joey arc. That'd be quite funny. Bad at accents. Already bad at accents. I'm already there.
Hey, yo, how do I tap my mana again, you? You just turn it sideways, Joey,
I've
and
got
it just mark down the mana you spend for your spells mentally. Like I'm going to tap this black, play a dark ritual which
what?
gets me 3 additional mana, and then I'll play this orcish bowmasters. See,
No,
that's how mana
that's
works.
no, that kind of joke's more on point when you think of it. It's a red deck, so it is literally mostly monsters. So Joey would absolutely play that.
Yeah.
Oh, I do. Um, I remember last time I met up with Callum, one of Mitchell's mates,
Yes.
who's big into Yu-Gi-Oh as well. Um, he was he actually I said I didn't know this as a sort of sideline fan. You know the original plan for Joey in the original run of the series.
Uh-huh. Go on.
Apparently, like, keep in mind this might be fan theory, but apparently, according to Callum, the plan was Joey begins the series, literally doesn't know thing one about dueling. That bit you kind of see.
Yeah.
Um, but the idea was as he goes through the series uh, with Yugi and crew,
Hmm.
actually learns how to play the game and would actually defeat Yugi at the end.
Ah.
It'd be like big years worth of build up for this one win where Joey is a decent duelist at the end of it.
Hmm.
I'm kind of sad that didn't happen because that'd have been like really kind of awesome.
Yeah. I do
As
like
it
it when
is,
Joey is
Joey's
the
kind of
limelight.
like the
He's
yeah,
kind of the
because as it
joke
is, Joey's
character.
kind of like the haha funny guy.
Yeah. It's also weird to me that like Tristan is also the haha funny guy, but he gets like not nearly as much
Probably
screen
knows
time.
worse.
Yeah, it's kind of
Does
a
he?
shame, really.
Oh, there's a question if you know it. When was the last time his deck's got any support?
Oh, fucking hell.
Did he? Oh, maybe.
Well, technically speaking, he does use the battle guards, same as Joey, and I do think they very recently printed a new battle guard card. Um, Unfortunately, battle guard is still not really a playable deck.
Well, the 5 stars, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's a weak tribute summon. It's really. I love those cards to
Yeah,
death
it's
as well. I think
called
their effect's
Battle
very
Guard
cool. But
Cadet. I saw it recently. Battle Guard Cadet. A battle, all Battle Guard
I need to have
monsters
a
you
look.
control gain 500 attack. Why does he have 50 attack? Wait, is this an official card that only has 50 attack? That might be a first for Yu-Gi-Oh! Why does he have 50 attack? Oh, I guess it includes
Oh my
himself.
god, he does.
So his base, I guess he also buffs himself up to 550, but having base 50 attack
Oh
might
my
be that
god.
might be the first Yu-Gi-Oh card to ever have base 50 attack. What the fuck? You can only use
Oh,
the
they could have made
following
it
effects
50.
once per
They could have made it
turn.
85.
Yeah. If it's normal special summons, you can add a Feast of the Wild level 5 deck to your hand. You Spirit Guard special level 8 warrior from your hand. Wait, use any warrior? Any level 8 warrior? This guy's actually kind of good, even outside of Battle Guard. Wow. I guess he's designed to bring out Battle Guard King. Yeah, so I guess Battle Guards is
You
kind
need
of a
to. I
deck
guess
now,
you
which
need
is.
to.
I mean, I don't think this deck's any good still, 'cause you still have to
That's
run
fine.
Lava and Swamp Battle Guard if you're running it pure. But I guess Battle Guard is now a deck? Sort of?
Okay, it's quite fun. Um, Yu-Gi-Oh is a mess. It's a
Um,
wait. Hang on.
there's
Hang on.
also a
Let me check.
continue spell, which is
What
pretty
was
cool.
that? What,
So yeah, I guess
what
like
was
it.
that one card? Sorry.
So I guess like
What was that
technically.
one card that was just like? Sorry, carry on. Yeah,
Sorry.
lag.
So I guess like to answer your question, I guess like I guess Tristan's deck has had an upgrade recently. It has had support. It's just it's such a bad deck anyway. It doesn't really matter, and it's not really entirely his. Like Tristan never really used an archetype. I guess it's like, hmm.
Whoa, okay. So that's why people bother with Itsu. I'm just comparing. Oh no. Itsu has finally found a card it can beat reliably. The day has come. Never thought that would happen, but
Yeah. I guess there's like the Robo Yarrow stuff, but the Robo Yarrow stuff hasn't really been updated since GX.
God,
Maybe we'll get like a
earlier
Garma.
year is weird.
Maybe we'll get a Garma sword deck one day, like we got the fucking Hungry Burger deck.
New archetype, Hungry Burger. It'll be a
That
spin-off
actually
of
happened
the.
though. That actually happened. That's the stuff that I gave you, the Novell stuff. That's the Hungry Burger deck. Actual
Oh my
Hungry
god!
Burger deck. Yeah. So it'd be cool if Garma Sword gets like its own like retrain and new deck. That'd be cool. It won't happen probably because Yu-Gi-Oh forgets Tristan Taylor and his hair existed. I love how his hair is just one
Every,
polygon.
earlier year was kind of strange. Oh god, but it's easier for the animators.
Yeah.
Um, earlier year was weird because they hadn't figured out archetypes yet.
Hmm.
They were just thinking monster is big. That's good.
Yeah. I guess the closest thing
So there was just
to
yeah.
I guess the closest thing to Tristan Taylor getting new cards is they did reprint one of his boss monsters, Senginjin or Sengenin. No, Sengeninjin. Sengeninjin, I think. The big blue guy. So they did reprint that quite recently. I think previously it was only
Oh,
like a was it like a McDonald's card? No, it was a World Championship card
oh,
like years
him!
ago.
I remember
So
this guy.
so it was a previously hard to get a hold of card, and now it's like actually obtainable in an actual easy to get hold of pack now. So that's good, but like beyond that, I don't think they've given Tristan any new stuff, which is weird because like they've given Esperoba new stuff. There's a good amount of new Jinzo stuff over the past few years. And he like you'd think that
Shinzo became better. Uh,
Esperoba was like a one episode character that like never showed up again. Tristan's part of the main team.
yeah,
What?
I had a oh god. Last time I played a speed duel, I tried to play nice and just picked a deck completely at random.
Hmm.
Did that every time I played as well, so it didn't feel like cheating.
Hmm.
I got to try out the Speed Duel Esperoba deck for the Battle City stuff. It
Oh
is so unfair.
yeah, it's like oh you can't trap
This
card
is
now,
it's
lol.
it's ridiculous. No, even worse than that. You know how a Speed Duel you have like character skills.
Hmm.
Uh, but you can just do things that the game would not normally let you get away with.
Yeah.
Esperoba's is horrifying because it lets you can just say, right, you have to show me what card you're drawing.
Oh yeah. Because that's what he does in the anime.
It's
He like
horrible.
because he I think in the anime
Yeah,
he like legitimately cheats, doesn't he? He gets like somebody to tell him what his
yeah.
opponent has in their hand. So I guess it's kind of thematic, but also like that is terrifying.
Oh god, it's so mean. Yeah, the thing is, I drew it randomly, so I wanted to win, but at the same time, it didn't feel good.
Hmm.
Oh dear. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Also had balance problems, I guess. That's just the game.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's it for today because we spent quite a while talking about Warhammer, which is fine. Which is fine. Sometimes we just go off the cuff, and that's okay. But we have been going for an hour and a half, so might be time
It's
to finish up.
I think I think ironically our format is becoming a lack of format, but that's kind of okay.
Yeah, sometimes we have things that we want to talk about that take like half an hour, and that's okay. I feel like as long as we have
And
the
we have
core,
also been
yeah, we've been away for a few weeks,
away
yeah.
2 weeks.
I feel like as long
Yeah,
as we do the core of a homebrew every week, a critical fumble, some initial waffles, and maybe occasionally talk about miniatures, that's kind of the main quota. If we fill the main quota, everything else just kind of falls into place.
we
The
got it.
the format's more
Yeah,
like a set of
yeah.
guidelines rather than
Thanks for having
rules.
us again.
Right, yes. Have a lovely week, everybody. We shall see you hopefully next week. See you all soon. Bye bye for now, everybody.
Is it right?
Bye. Let's look at a raid.
Who are we raiding?
Orcs time to raid. Followers. Well, following, not followers.
Is it? Do we have like a sound? Do you have a sound for that?
No, but
We've
we
got one.
should do. That would be quite fun. I guess that sometimes people have sounds on their thing for when they get raided. I guess. Um,
That's fair.
let's see.
Another thought as well. I could try and source a sound for it. Um, whenever if ever you get like a uh, subscriber or like message note, like a notification, you could set it to like the first few notes of the Eyewitness theme.
Do, 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 do.
Yeah, just that. Just it cuts off.
Uh,
It was not fun.
right, who we raiding? I mean, I guess we could just raid them. Yeah, we'll just raid Bree. I don't know what's Bree playing. Life Eater. What is this game? I have no. That seems like quite an ominous name, doesn't it? Life Eater. Anyway, I shall. Yep. Right. See you all soon. Check. Don't forget to join the Discord if you want to
See you
see
soon.
our homebrews that we make every week. Well, every time that we're
Yep.
live, anyway. Bye bye all.
And any strange images?
To join
Bye.
the Discord if you want to
See you
see
soon.
our home.
There it is.